A great show tonight in tribute to Johnny Cash, a native son of Arkansas. Before we go any further, I'm going to ask a couple of favors of you. First of all, let's reach in our pockets, get out our cell phones, please turn them off. If you're expecting a call and it's an emergency or something, keep it on vibrate, please take it in the back. The second thing, I know guys and gals, you're proud of those big cowboy hats. It's time to take them off. You. Because the people sitting behind you cannot see. Yes, sir. This stadium is kind of flat. We do appreciate it. Yes, we like to see those heads shining through it. It kind of reflects the light better. We want everybody to enjoy the show because we do have a great lineup. You know, Johnny Cash is a native Arkansan. He was born in South Arkansas in Kingsland. Moved to Dyess when he was very young, where they farmed 20 acres of hardscrabble land over there, farming cotton and other seasonal crops. And he sang in the fields with his family, and at 12 started playing guitar. And after he got out of the Air Force in 1954, he founded the Tennessee Two, and went on to record with Sun Records. And of course, in 1956, I believe, he came out with I Walk the Line, and that the rest is history. He became world famous. In 1960, he had a drummer join him, W.S. Holland, who was his only drummer. He's the first drummer to play on the Grand Ole Opry with a full trap set. And he is currently the only member of the Tennessee Three, the original band that played with Johnny Cash, that is still touring. And that's who we're going to introduce tonight. We have W.S. Holland and his band. A great show tonight. Let's put your hands together. Big everybody. Make them welcome.
Because I spent, this is my 58th year, sitting on the drum stool, two sticks in my hand, trying to figure out what to hit next. And I spent 50 of those years behind John Cash and Carl Perkins and all the guys that never said a word. Now, I'm out here telling all these stories and having a big time. But he's here, and you know, I saw Johnny Cash do that one time, come on the stage without his guitar. But we had to wait for somebody to come get it. But it is a pleasure for me to be here. It is quite an honor, and it's I guess one of my biggest honors is to be working with Dave Rowe. We spent a lot of time with Johnny Cash together. Are you ready now? I'm going to shut up and y'all listen to some good music. Thank you.
Thank you so much for being with us, folks. I hear the train coming, it's rolling around the bend. I can see the sunshine, I don't know when. I slept in the river, that's dragging along. And the train is rolling all down the stairs. I visited Richmond Street in fancy dining cars, probably drinking coffee, smoking big cigars. But I know I had it coming, I know I can't be free. And the train is moving, and that's what the Lord says.
wait too awful long for the weather to change. It can go from bone dry like it's been lately to the way it was when this song was wrote. How high is the water, mama? 2 feet high and rising. How high is the water, mama? Since 2 feet high and rising. You can make it to the road in a old big boat. That's the only thing we got left to float. Already over all we know is 2 feet high and rising. How high is the water, mama? It's 3 feet high and rising. How high is the water, mama? It's 3 feet high and rising. Rain's gone, I lost all my bees, and the chickens sleeping in the willow trees. How's the water up at her knees? 3 feet high and rising. How high is the water, mama? Said it's 4 feet high and rising. How high is the water, mama? Said it's 4 feet high and rising. They gonna through the window pane, the bus is coming, gonna take us to the train. Looks like we'll be left with a little more rain. 4 feet high and rising. Well, how high is the water, mama? She says 5 feet high and rising. How high is the water, mama? It's 5 feet high and rising. Well, the rails will walk down to north of town. Gotta get out for higher ground. Can't go back to the water goes down. 5 feet high and rising. 5 feet high and rising. Yes, sir. A good old friend of mine, and we traveled many miles together on the road. A lot of history. Make him welcome on the bass, Mr. Dave Rowe. Next, a familiar face around here, the musical director here at the Ozark Folk Center. Make him welcome Mr. Carl Atkins. We've got a few guests that we're going to have out during the course of tonight's show, and I know you're going to like all of them, but this next fella, the good-looking one in the band, make him welcome W.S. Holland.
Thanks a lot, Charlie, for that. You know, I've already told him everything I know. I appreciate so much being here. But I will tell you one funny thing right quick about Dave Rowe. Dave Rowe and me worked so long, so many miles, so many shows behind Johnny Cash that it's amazing. And of course I was there from 1960 until 97. And we're on the road one day. We're going from the hotel to the restaurant down the hall, and we met this guy coming, and the guy got up eating with me and Dave, and he said, y'all going to eat? And Dave said, yeah. He said, man, they got some good food. And he walked on, and I said, Dave, who was that man? And Dave said, what do you mean, who was that man? Are you losing your mind? I said, that was John, that's Johnny Cash. I said, oh, me, I didn't recognize him from the front. Dave, you remember that?
Y'all got him started now. Guitar, and people came from all around and all the girls from there to Austin. We're slipping away from home and putting jewelry in all day trip.
stepping toes and begging him don't stop. Hypnotized and fascinated by the little dark-haired boy who played the Tennessee flat top box and he would play. And one day he was gone, no one else saw him round. He vanished like a breeze, forgot him in that little town. But all the girls still dreamed about him, hung around the cabaret until the doors were locked. And one day, all the hit parade said the little dark-haired boy would play the Tennessee flat top box and he would play. He's congenial too. Oh, you are an orderly bunch.
It's a dry county.
Well, it's drier for some than it is for others, I believe.
If he warned me about that when I was leaving Nashville this morning, I just want you to know it's a dry county. You might want to stop somewhere. But I didn't.
Okay. All right, we want to bring a guest out here now. This man is a man of many names. We know him around here as Lucky LaRue. He says that he's going through a divorce, so now he's decided to change his name to Angst Williams. Come on over.
Here, come over one, Mike.
Excuse me, guys.
All right?
Yeah.
Get my love this one up for me. There you go.
I'd like to say one thing about Johnny Cash. Number one, he was always a hero of mine, still is. He was many things to many people, including himself. But one thing's for sure, he was one of the most significant influence in American music.
Said, let me out of prison, out of Frisco. For 2 long years I paid for what I'd done. I was trying to get back to Louisiana, see my road, get to know my son. Give my love to Rose, please won't you, mister? Take her all my money, tell her buy some pretty clothes. Tell my boy his daddy's so proud of him. And don't forget to give my love to Rose. You can tell him I said thanks for waiting for me. Tell my boy to help his mom at home. Tell the Rose to go and find another. Look, it ain't right that she should live alone. Mister, here's back with all my money. It won't last them long, the way to go. God bless you for finding me this morning. And don't forget to give my love to Rose. One time, I used to play with Johnny, and he said, I want to play the Long Black Veil here at the Folk Center. And it was a Merle Travis tribute, and I said, you can't do that. It's not old enough. He said, well, let's just go ask Merle. So we went to the dressing room, and Marty said, shouldn't we be able to play Long Black Veil here? And Merle said, yeah, but we can't. So that settled that, but I'm going to play it. We'll just start, boys. There you go. 10 years ago, on a cold, dark night, there was somebody killed neath the town hall light. There were few at the scene, but they all agreed that the slayer who ran looked a lot like me. She walks these hills in a long black veil. She whispers my name when the night winds wail. Sometimes at night, when a cold wind moans in a long black veil, she cries over the phone. Somewhere else, then you won't have to die. I spoke not a word, although it meant my life. Oh, I've been in the arms of my best friend's wife. Eternity near, she stood in the crowd, shed not a tear. Sometimes at night, when a cold wind moans in a long black veil, she cries over my bone. Nobody knows. We'd like to bring her out right now. Make her feel welcome one time. Miss Ruby Bynes.
Hello.
Long time no see.
Yeah, how you doing?
Pretty good.
Good.
Thank you. How fast do you like this?
Yeah, you know?
Jackson.
Can you all hear that rhythm? Yeah. Well, then we're gonna start this one.
Love is a burning thing, and it makes a fiery ring. Thou, my wild desire, I fell into a ring of fire. I fell into a burning ring of fire. I went down, 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 and the flames went higher. And it burns, 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 the ring of fire, the ring of fire. The taste of love is sweet, when hearts like ours meet. I fell for you like a child. Oh, but the fire went wild. I fell into a burning ring of fire. I went down, 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 and the flames went higher. And it burns, 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 the ring of fire, the ring of fire. I fell into a burning ring of fire. I went down, 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 and the flames went higher. And it burns, 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 the ring of fire, the ring of fire, the ring of fire.
Aren't they something, folks?
We'll see a little more Ruby in a minute.
He did a movie called The Pride of Jesse Hallam. There's a couple songs on that soundtrack, one of which talked about Paradise, Kentucky. This fellow in the movie was a man who couldn't read or write, moved his family up to the Cincinnati, Ohio area, hills of Kentucky, from the coal mine area of Kentucky. So we're going to do this song that talks about coal mining. And the chorus of it goes, "Daddy, won't you take me back to Muhlenberg County?" And I couldn't think anybody better to sing that part with me than my son Colton. Make him welcome, won't you please?
All right, you got about 400 more to say hi to, so get out here.
When I was a child, my family would travel down to western Kentucky, where my parents were born. you take me back to Muhlenberg County, down by the Green River where paradise lay. Said I'm sorry, my son, but you're too late in asking. He climbed his own trains all the way. When I die, won't you bury me down the Green River? Down that line up by Rochester Dam. Halfway to heaven, with no one prison, 5 miles away from wherever I am. Daddy, won't you take me back to Muhlenberg County, down by the Green River where paradise lay. I'm sorry, my son, but you're too late in asking. So anybody's old things all the way. Brag on a child, but he's an honor roll student at Westside. Yeah. And thanks in part to my lovely wife, his mother. And I wasn't going to say anything about this, but I got the best in-laws in the world. For as much as I complain about, wait a minute, that's not what I meant to say. No, I'm glad to have my family all with me here this evening, and my son Kobe too. Hey, Kobe. If you think I'm killing time right now, you're right. Because we got a song coming up here that I can't remember all the words to, and I left the words with my guitar. Yeah, that's all right. Cole's on the job. So, in his absence, let me tell you, this is the most fun for us to get to do this for a group of people like this, and it's a great facility. Y'all are lucky to have this to come to. We're lucky to have it to come play at. So, thank you so much for making the effort to come see us this evening.
Really nice. Any of y'all stayed in the cabin? Really nice. They got internet and TVs and everything else.
And you know what?
What?
A great bed.
Great bed.
You know, that's my favorite thing, is a great bed in a hotel.
They got electricity. You know, I'm really glad they invented electricity or we'd be watching TV in the dark.
And you know, another thing that I like about it, of all the places that I've ever been, this place that we stayed last night and gonna stay tonight don't have a cash register. We don't have to pay.
That's right. They paid for us. It's pretty good. I'd like to thank Charlie White over there. Let's hear it for Charlie doing such a great job. He brings us up here.
Are you ready?
We're waiting on you.
Make it sound like I'm unprepared or something. I'm just an old chunk of coal, but I'm gonna be a diamond someday. Gonna grow in glory, not too perfect. Gonna put a smile on everybody's face. I'm gonna
it is so important to me because in 1954, I was just out of high school, been out about a year, had me a real job at an air conditioning company. Never thought about being in the music business at all. It didn't cross my mind. Carl Perkins, his family was from the same little town I lived, Beavis, Tennessee. And I would go to some of the places that him and his brothers were playing. Little nightclubs, no bandstand or anything like that. And I just walk up to the upright bass and keep time. He did mostly up-tempo Hank Williams songs like Hey Good Looking and all that. One night he asked me, it was on a Saturday night, they were packing up and I was still hanging around. He said, we got an appointment with Sam Phillips next Thursday morning. Borrow some drums and go with us. I said, Carl, what would I do with the drum? I never even thought about being in the music business at all. He said, you keep time on that bass like you do, you could play drums. Why this happened? Now we look back, it's history. I don't know why it happened, but I went the next day, found a guy that had some drums, asked him to borrow his drums, and he said to me, his name was Slick, listen, he said, W.S., you can't play it. I said, Slick, if you'll let me borrow your drums, I'll be playing by Thursday. He let me have them. We got in my car, drove over to Memphis, Tennessee, and we recorded a song that changed our lives forever. And years later, when it became history, I asked Carl, I said, Carl, why did you ask me to go to Memphis with you for an audition for a record session knowing I couldn't play? He said, W.S., you was the only person that I knew that had a Cadillac car that would make it to Memphis, and I wanted to. So I tell all the young people getting in the music business, the first thing you got to have is a Cadillac car. But anyway, we drove over, we recorded the Blue Suede Shoes. The story goes on and on. I'm not going to take up any more time talking about it, but seemed like Johnny Cash was involved in almost everything in the story about it. He gave Carl the idea to write the song. But we went in, and this was a song that changed my life forever. It was the first record to go to #1 in all the charts. It was the first record to sell 1 million on Sun. It was the beginning of a rock and roll. Dave, let's do Blue Suede Shoes.
Let's do it. Let's hear it for Fluebreaker. I hardly ever get to tell this story, but if you just give me 1 second before I start singing, you'll be glad you gave me a second, actually. But that's an amazing story how he learned how to play drums and on the job. Because my story is very similar. I moved to Nashville in 1980 from Honolulu. I'm from Hawaii originally. And I had never played upright bass in my life. And I'd especially never done any of this, the rockabilly slap thing. And one of our good friends lied to Johnny, told him I was the best slap bass player that ever lived. And so I was out on the road working with Vern Gosling. In fact, that's how I met Charlie. Charlie was in the band out there. And Vern was having all these big hits back in the early the big days of his career. And so I thought, but God almighty, it's Johnny Cash. So I borrowed a bass, an upright bass, and I went up there, and I'll tell you, it had to be god-awful. Just the worst. I came off that stage that night with blisters on both hands. I'd never picked up one of these in my life, ever. I mean, maybe walked by one in a music store and said, well, that's pretty cool. And so we get done with the show, and the road manager comes up and says, Johnny wants to talk to you. Okay. So I went in the back, and he went, you don't really play upright bass, do you? And Fluke's sitting there, just going. And I told him, no, I don't. You caught me. And he goes, well, what'd you come out here for? And I said, man, it's Johnny Cash. And he got so tickled we started laughing, and then he said, I'll talk to you later about it. And I was doing pretty good as an electric bass player, not setting the world on fire or anything, but electric bass players are a dime a dozen anyway. And the next day at the airport, Johnny walked up and said, you think you could learn how to do that? And I said, I don't know, I'll give it a try. He said, I'll give you 6 months. And I'm here to tell you, nobody in the world would do that for anybody but Johnny, you know. So here he was, taking me under his wing and letting me learn how to play this style. It's what I do for a living now. I play mostly upright bass. I wouldn't be standing here today if it wasn't for Johnny Cash. He never said another word. He changed my life too.
Fans, all of these stories about that now, you know what now we see why they play like they do.
They all get to thinking anybody can do it. Well, it's one for the money.
That's it.
Keeps going, right? 2 for the show. 3 to get ready now. Go ahead, don't step on my blue suede shoes. You can do anything with it all on my blue suede shoes. You can knock me down, step on my face, or write my name all over the place. Do anything that you wanna do, but I'm already off in shoes, so don't you step on my blue suede shoes. You can do anything with it all on my blue suede shoes.
Thank you so much, folks. We're going to take just a short break, get ready for the next set. Get yourselves a drink. We'll be right back.
First thing that's Johnny reincarnated. Mike McGee, a.k.a. Lash LaRue, Lucky LaRue, did an awesome job himself. So we're going to bring them all back as this second half off and on. So I want you to put your hands together again for, again, Johnny Cash's only drummer, the only touring member of the original band, W.S. Holland and his group. Let's hear it, folks. Let's practice.
So you're having a good time so far? I guarantee you we are. Does anybody have a pick? No, I'm just kidding. It's well known that Johnny Cash was one of the greatest American songwriters ever. And most of the stuff, a lot of the stuff, of course, that we're doing tonight is stuff that he wrote, but he's also well known as one of the greatest cover artists in our period of recorded music. I guess it was in maybe the mid-90s, early 90s. I was producing a record on this guy, and we were opening for Johnny Cash, and these guys were there. It was in a theater in Knoxville. And I was so surprised. We played our set, and then I went out in the crowd and watched some of Cash's show. And all the way through the crowd, anywhere you look, there'd be a a group of people that were my parents' age. And right next to them, there'd be some young people, maybe with green mohawks spiked way up high. And, I mean, it was all generations. And as I looked around the house, I was just knocked out by it. And one of the things that he did was record some really almost painful songs to listen to. And this next song is one of those. Now we live in the YouTube generation. So many of us frequent that. If you look up I Walk the Line, for instance, or something, you'll see on YouTube 12 million views or something like that. I looked up this next song, getting ready to do it, and was surprised to see that it had over 36 million, this is just on YouTube, views. So, anyway, I found that interesting. because you're mine. I won't deny it. As sure as night is dark and big as light, I keep you all night, both day and night. Happiness I know proves that I'm right, because you're mine. I won't ride. You got a way to keep me on your side. Got the cause for love I cannot hide. For you I know I try to turn the tide, because you're mine. I won't deny. I keep a close watch on this heart of mine. I keep my eyes wide open all the time. I keep the ends out for the times that bind, because you're mine. I won't ride. There's a very famous comedy, I'm not going to call it a comedy, even though it was very funny, song that he wrote. You all know what I'm talking about. We're going to have Carl Atkins do it for you right now.
Right now. Well, my daddy left home when I was 3. Didn't leave much for Mom and me, except this old guitar and an empty bottle of booze. Now I don't blame because he run a kid with the meanest thing that fella ever did. Before he left, he went and made me sick. Well, it must have thought it was quite a joke. Got a lot of laughs from lots of folks. Seemed I had to fight my whole life through. Some gal would giggle, I turned red, some guy would laugh, I bust his head. I tell you, life ain't easy for a boy named Sue. Well, I grew up quick, I grew up mean, my fist got hard, my wits got keen, roamed from town to town to hide my shame. So I made me a vow to the moon and stars, I'd search those honky-tonks and bars and kill that man and give me that awful name. It was Gatlinburg in mid-July, I just hit town, my throat was dry. Thought I'd stop and have myself a brew. In an old saloon on a street of mud, there at the table, he was sitting the dirty mangy dog that named me Sue. I knew in a moment he was my own sweet dad from a wore-out picture that my mother had. I knew that scar that cheek in his evil eye. He was big and thin, gray and old. I looked at him and my blood ran cold and I said, "My name is Sue. How do you do? Now you're gonna die." Well, I hit him hard right between the eyes. He went down to my surprise, come up with a knife, cut off a piece of my ear. So I busted a chair across his knees. We fell out into the Stickett Street, kicking and gouging blood to beer. I tell you, I fought tough for Ben. I really can't remember when. He kicked like a mule and he bit like a crocodile. I heard him laugh and then I heard him cuss. He went for his pistol but I pulled mine first. Sat there looking at me and I saw him smile. He said, "Son, this world is rough. If a man's gonna make it, he's gotta be tough. I knew you wouldn't be there to help you along. So I give you that name and said goodbye. I knew you'd have to get tough to die. And it's that name that helped to make you strong." Don't you ought to thank me once before you die. With a gravel gut and spit in your eye, 'cause I'm the son of a ain't you soon. Well, I think about it every now and then, every time I try, every time I win, if I ever have a son. I think I'm gonna name him Bill or George or Tapioca or anything besides Sue. I hate that name.
We recorded that in 1969, the year after we did the Folsom Prison Show. We recorded that at San Quentin. Now, you got to visualize this. And the thing at the end made me think of so much of the way he did things. We had not heard the song. We didn't know about it. Nobody in the band did. And we found all this out later, that Shel Silverstein had sent John this poem. We didn't know it. He didn't say anything to us about it. And that audience, the inmates at those prisons, if you heard any of the records, they were so noisy. We didn't have the monitors like we got now, and we didn't have probably the greatest sound guy in the world that we got tonight.
John Rainey.
Yeah, and we couldn't hear what John was saying. So he just, some of the songs, the rest of the songs we knew, we could hear and kick them off and we could play them. But that one we didn't know. He come out of his pocket with this paper and he just started reading that poem. Now, Carl Perkins was standing up kind of close to him, like right there, and he could hear John, but we couldn't hear him. And Carl just kicked off a guitar riff of some kind. Then we could hear his amplifier, and we played it. Now, the first time I heard it was back in the studio in Nashville, and we was listening to things, trying to figure out some way to get a good enough sound to release. We didn't get a good enough sound to release. We released it anyway, and it was one of the biggest things that John ever did. And I was thinking about how Johnny Cash was so different from everybody else. And then here you come up here and do something that's about like he did. That is, I just had to let y'all know about it.
Let's bring Miss Ruby Pines back out one more time, please.
This is another one of those moments.
Okay, I got her now. It's in D, right?
Yeah, still. Let's get together and use those time's wasted.
Well, it tastes so good, you don't think better and make it.
And the love's just a bubble if you don't make the trouble to take it. If you're free to go with me, I'll take you quicker than 1, 2, 3.
Let's go.
Time's wasted. together and lose these blues.
Let's go.
Time's wasted. Now I've got me.
And I've got me.
Let's walk around with lovers' feet.
Let's go.
Time's wasted.
Well, you got me feeling love like I never have felt it.
You're full of sugar and I'm just a booger to melt it. Now I've got sneeze and you got sneeze. Let's get together and dream some dreams. Let's go. Time's wasted. Crucified my Lord. Were you there when they crucified my Lord? Oh, sometimes it causes me to tremble, tremble, tremble. Were you there when they crucified my Lord? Were you there when they nailed him to the tree? Were you there when they nailed him to the tree? Sometimes it causes me to tremble, tremble, tremble. Were you there when they nailed him to the tree? Were you there when they laid him in the tomb? Were you there when they laid him in the tomb? Whoa, sometimes it causes me to tremble, tremble, tremble. Were you there when they laid him in the tomb?
I met for the first time a pretty young lady named Joyce. Apparently he's been traveling around with Mr. Holland for some time. She said they got married in 1960, the same year I was born. And I believe she must have been in the 3rd grade, judging from the looks of her.
Thank you so much.
There she is back in.
I'm gonna do a couple more things for you, and then we're gonna get some real good stuff happening. But this is kind of important to me. I'll tell you how it happened. I'd done all this stuff with Carl Perkins in the 50s. All at once, it was the end of the 50s, it was 1960. And I figured that I had done all I would ever do in the music business, and I was gonna retire. I'd spent all the money I'd made. Carl and his 2 brothers had spent all the money they'd made. I spent all of mine on cars and speedboats. Carl spent all of his on, well, he was thirsty a lot. So but I'd played on the Blue Suede Shoes record, played on the $1 Million Quartet. If anybody hadn't seen the $1 Million Quartet Broadway show, you need to go see it. It's unreal. And I've been in a movie, done everything I figured I would ever do. I'd met Joyce. I was driving around Jackson with a big long Cadillac, 3 payments behind. Didn't know how I was going to make the next payment. And she, after so long a time, about 3 years, she had a good job, she had a house paid for, had a car paid for, and she finally talked me into marrying her. And we're celebrating 52 years together now. We're having a great time. She stayed home. I didn't get to retire. Just as I was lining up a real job, I got a call from Johnny Cash. He didn't have a drummer at that time, and he got a big engagement up in New York at a big building, and he figured he needed somebody to make more noise, and we'd work together on different shows. And he called me to go with him for 2 weeks. And those 2 weeks lasted almost 40 years. And if we had a couple of weeks, we could just do a question thing and sit up here and tell stories for a couple of days. But we'll get to it someday, maybe. But the thing, one of the real important things to me that happened with Joyce, she, ever so often, she said, "W.S., you need to record a drum solo." I said, "No, I don't care about it. Drums makes too much noise. Nobody cares about hearing just drums." She said, "Well, John liked them. That's the reason he hired you." So she talked me into it. I went back over to Sun Records 50 years after the first day I'd been there, set up in almost the same spot, and recorded a thing called Drum Time. Now, it won't last long, and if you don't like it, it won't hurt my feelings. It's okay. Drop by the concession stand where Joyce is when you leave and fuss at her about it, because it's her fault you gotta hear it. Drum time. I guess all these guys are ready, yeah. Drum time! I'm going to do one more thing for you. It's so important to me. Great. One of my favorite things John Cash did. I try to think of his my all-time favorite. I guess my number one all-time favorite thing that John did was give me his autograph on paychecks. Like I said, I wish we had time we could stand up here and talk about things that happened on the road. John was such an unusual fellow. I will tell you one thing, though. We used to, whoever was having a birthday was on the road, we'd have a big birthday party. In 1976, it was my birthday, we had a big party on the road. John gave me a wristwatch. I didn't really know what it was. It's a Patek Philippe. I found out later it's one of the most expensive watches that you could buy. I still got it. My arm's too big to wear it now, though, but I still got it. The next year, in 1977, my birthday again on the road, he gave me a brand new Lincoln Mark V Continental, Bill Blass edition. We still got it. The next year, we're on the road, birthday party again. He gave me a picture about this size of Abraham Lincoln. Had a barn door wood frame around it. The next year, the next year, the next, and the next, and the next, and never again did he mention my birthday again. So that's kind of a little bit of a, I guess it's okay, it's so strange, or we're different. I think that's what made him such a big superstar, and I think that's why so many people still like to hear his songs and things. And you can't imagine what an honor it is for me to be involved with the guys here today. One of my favorite things he did, though, was the Ragged Old Flag. He wrote this in 1974. We performed it in almost every show we ever did after that. We did it at the Bicentennial in 1976. And I do it now with everywhere I go. There's been a few places we went that didn't have a flag, so I carry a flag with me. Fix the place on the bus for a small flagpole. But I like to do it now, and I like to do it in honor of a lot of people. Just remembering all of the people that fought in all of the wars, that sacrificed so much so we can be here today having so much fun. We probably couldn't be doing it if it hadn't been for so many people sacrificing so much. And I think our country I think it'd be okay, and I think it for sure would be okay if enough of us get together and still have some good old flag waving days. I think that's what we need. But I like to take it a little bit further in honoring another group of people that we don't think a lot about. We go tonight, get in the bed, and we don't realize that whatever neighborhood we're in, whatever city we live in, there's a group of people out riding around in police cars, having to wear guns, protecting us. Firemen sacrificing their life to do things to protect us. I like to dedicate it to all those people. I can't imagine John or anybody else writing something in 74 that the words actually, it's almost like it's a new song today. It's called a ragged old flag. I walked through a county courthouse square. On a park bench, an old man was sitting there. I said, "Your old courthouse is kind of run down." He said, "No, it'll do for our little town." I said, "Your flagpole's kind of leaning a little bit. That's a ragged old flag you got hanging on it." He said, "Have a seat." I sat down. He said, "This is the first time you've been to our little town?" I said, "Yeah, I think it is." He said, "Well, I don't like to brag, but we're kind of proud of that ragged old flag. You see, it got that tear there when Washington took it across the Delaware. And it got powder burn the night Francis Scott Key said, watching it, writing, 'Oh, say, can you see?' Got a big rip in New Orleans. Pakenham and Jackson tugging at his seams. And it almost fell at the Alamo beside the Texas flag. But she waved on, though. She got cut with a sword in Chancellorsville. She got cut again at Shiloh Hill. There was Robert E. Lee, Beauregard, and Bragg. And the south wind blew hard in that ragged old flag. In Flanders Field in World War I, she got a big hole from a Bertha gun. She turned blood red in World War II. She hung limp and low by the time that one was through. She was in Korea, Vietnam. She went where she was sent by our Uncle Sam. She waved from our ships on the Bridie phone. And now, they back up waving her here at home. Here in her own good land, she's been abused, she's been burned, denied, dishonored, and refused. And the government for which she stands is scandalized throughout the land. And she's getting threadbare, wearing kind of thin. But she's in good shape for the shape she's in. You see, she's been through the fire before. And I believe she can take a whole lot more. So we raise her up every morning. We take her down slow every night. We don't let her touch the ground. We fold her upright. So on second thought, I do like to brag, because I am mighty proud of that ragged old flag.
Were you there when he rose up from the tomb? Were you there when he rose up from the tomb? Oh, sometimes it causes me to tremble, tremble, tremble. Were you there when he rose up from the grave?
We could get your all's help.
we've got a birthday in the house and we'd like to just sing a quick happy birthday, can we? Yeah. Wait, Dave, do you?
That's my lovely wife. It's her birthday. Stand up, darling, back there. Come on. There she is. Her name is Jen. Let's sing happy birthday to her. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Jen. Happy birthday to you. What am I going to get?
Hanks Williams.
Hanks Williams.
Everybody's very upset.
I want to dedicate this song to all my ex-wives.
We might not have that much time.
At my door, the leaves are falling. A cold, wild wind will come. Sweethearts walk by together, and I still miss someone. No, I never got over those blue eyes. I see them everywhere. I miss those arms that held me when all the love was there. I go out on the hearted, and I look for a little fun, but I find the dark in the corner, 'cause I still miss someone. So I never got over those blue eyes. I see them everywhere, and I miss those arms that held me when all the love was there. And I wonder if she's sorry for leaving what we had begun. There's someone for me somewhere, and I still miss someone. No, I never got over those blue eyes. I see them everywhere. I miss those arms that held me when all the love was there.
Everybody knows where you go when the sun goes down. I think you only live to see the lights down. I wasted my time when I would try. When the lights lost their glow, you're gonna cry. I lie awake at night and wait till you come home. You stay a little while and then you're gone. Yeah. Every question I ask, I get a lie. For every lie you tell, you're gonna cry. Gonna cry, and you'll cry alone. When everyone's forgotten and you're left all alone, you're gonna cry. up some cold day and find you alone. You're calling me, but I'm gonna tell you bye. For every time you walk away, you cry. You're gonna cry, and you're crying home. When everyone's forgotten and you're left all alone, you're gonna cry. This next song was written by a man from just down the road in Timbo, Arkansas, a name known well to people around these parts, Jimmy Driftwood. So this is a big hit for many people, and Johnny Cash did a great version of it. As soon as I can remember it, I'll show it to you. And honestly, I learned this song first from a guitar hero of mine, a folk music hero of mine, who just passed away here in the last few days, Mr. Doc Watson.
Yeah.
Long about 1825, I left Tennessee very much alive. Never would have made it through the Arkansas mud if I hadn't been around on the Tennessee stud. Well, I had a little trouble with the sweetheart call, and one of her brothers was a bad outlaw. Sent her a letter to my Uncle Bud, he cleared away on the Tennessee stud. Now the Tennessee stud was along with me, the color of the sun in his eyes were green. He had the nerve and he had the blood, but the devil was a horse like a Tennessee stud. They went right to the beautiful land, and on it snapped him to an Indian band. Whipped them down to the town of the hell, and I rode away like a bat out of well. Circle their camp for a time or two, and shoot them what a Tennessee horse can do. Never got my blood, cause I was right on the Tennessee stud. And the Tennessee stud was long and lean, the color of the sun in his eyes were green. He had the nerve and he had the blood, but the devil was a horse like the Tennessee stud. Drifted on down into no man's land, across the river on the Rio Grande. Raised by a horse with a Spanish toll, and I got me a skin full of silver and gold. Me and a gambler we couldn't agree, and we got in a fight in Tennessee. We jerked our guns and it fell with a thud, and I rode away on the Tennessee stud. The Tennessee stud was long and mean, because the sun in his eyes was green. He had the nerve and he had the blood, but the devil was a horse like the Tennessee stud. And I got just as lonesome as a man could be, dreaming of a girl named Tennessee. Tennessee stud's green eyes turned blue, cause he was a dreaming of a sweetheart too. And we looked right back across Arkansas, I whooped the brother and I whooped the ball. Found that girl with the golden hair, and she was the ride on the Tennessee mare. Asked her if the girl side by side across the Rio line. And we came to Big Muddy and we folded the blood on the Tennessee Fair and the Tennessee Stud. Now the Tennessee Stud was a long and lean in the color of the sun and his eyes blue. He had the nerve and he had the blood, and the devil was a horse like the Tennessee Stud. Now pretty little baby on the cabin floor, and a little horse came around the door. I love that girl with the old hair, and the Tennessee Stud of the Tennessee man. And the Tennessee Stud was long and lean in the color of the sun and his eyes blue. And he had the nerve and he had the blood, but there never was a horse like the Tennessee Stud. He had the nerve and he had the blood, but there never was a horse like the Tennessee Stud.
Oh, thank you so much. On that YouTube thing that I was talking about earlier, if you look around, you'll also find Johnny's, what they say is Johnny's last performance. I don't know if that's true, but I reckon it might be. And it was at I think a birthday party in commemoration of June's birthday. It was the town of her birth. It was in a little like library or something. And the video is a cell phone video, but it is so poignant and heartfelt. And he sang this next song that we're going to wrap things up for you with. My son Colt's going to go out and do it. Won't you make him welcome one more time? Oh.
Charlie was talking earlier about how proud he is of his son. And I want to tell you a little story about WS. This is my WS story, my favorite WS Holland story. Because I'm lucky enough, I have a son that's very talented too. He's about 27 years old now. And he's one of the top young drummers in the business. He plays with Katie Lang. And he also played with Gretchen Wilson and Big and Rich and all kinds of people. And when he was 10 years old, we were playing in Branson, and he came out, and Johnny invited him up on stage to play, which he still talks about, which was just amazing. He got to play Fluke's drums and come on stage. And they're standing backstage, and he walked up and he said, WS, when I get big, I want to play just like you. And Fluke looked at him and said, don't learn how to play like me, learn how to play a long time. Anyway, that's my WS.
Sun is sinking.
Cash will be out front, and he'll be back there with his lovely wife, Joyce, signing CD.